All right, day one, we have two more trainings for the day. This is an exciting one. So another new-ish line for us. Pretty cool category. Everybody wants to get into lighting and landscape audio. Well, these guys do them both together. This is SixFive. They have some pretty cool solutions with their Fusion Soundscape lighting slash audio packages that Nick here with SixFive can go over. Thanks, Nick Lamonaco, for being here. The 2024 virtual roadshow. Also, make sure to check out the SixFive booth for even more information that could educate you guys a little bit more on what SixFive can offer. You'll be getting 50 points for this training that you're registered. We're going to have this recorded, and then it will be saved for you to view after the fact. If you want to view this again, you get another 20 points. Or if you have somebody on your team that wants to learn a little bit more about the SixFive offering, make sure you go online and check that out on our dealer website. And we have a poll question for you guys to answer. I'll get that activated, and Nick has a QR code for a poll as well. So without further ado, Nick, thanks for joining us for the next 50 minutes or so.
Sweet. Thanks, Mark. Glad to be here. All right, everybody. Well, as Mark mentioned, I asked a couple of questions throughout the presentation. So if you see that QR code there, just scan it with your phone, and it'll log you in. It'll just open up a web browser on your phone, and then you'll be part of the questions that I'll be asking throughout the presentation. If you don't do it, it's not the end of the world, but it'll be great for me if I can get that information back. So if you don't mind scanning that in, and every time a question comes up, you see that ID pop up. So if it disconnects, even on the app, it'll scroll down. You'll see like recent polls and just jump right back in. If for some reason you get disconnected. So without further ado, I'll get started here. So
yeah, if you guys also have any questions, go ahead and ask. Like I mentioned before, I don't know if I said that. Like the first one, where does the name SixFive come from? That's a really good question.
Oh, we're getting right into that one. That's how we start the presentation. So let's get going. All right. So who are we? Well, we're a division of Memphis Car Audio, changed to Memphis Audio, and we've been in the audio game since 1965. So it's rumored that we had the first under-dash 4-track in 1965. I don't know if that's true, but obviously 4-tracks are well before my time, so I'll just say that is in fact true. So we've been in the audio game since 65, and we've actually been in the car game since 1919, making seat covers and floor mats for Model Ts in Memphis for when cars came in to trade cotton. So we've been in auto for over 100 years, but audio since 65. The name SixFive is connected to that audio history. So SixFive was just a cool way to bring up that we started in 1965. On our car side, the SixFive line is our high-end quality product, like the best sounding product we've ever made. And we've rolled that over into the home audio world, and that's where SixFive comes from. So division of Memphis Audio, Memphis Car Audio, if you are familiar. And the reason we got started is we have crossover distributors throughout the USA. So we have a lot of distributors that sell both CI and home audio product, as well as car audio product. And we had an awesome idea for the Fusion Soundscape. I just get excited about cool stuff, and I presented it to a few of our top distributors in the home and car world. And they said, man, no one's got that. And I know you guys will be able to make it sound awesome. So you should do it. And that's where we kind of started. And our head of product development has 20 plus years in the home and commercial audio world as well. So bringing the knowledge of making speakers sound good, whether it's a car, home, or backyard, as well as the ability to make stuff look cool. So that's where SixFive came from. So we've been developing audio and designing audio for a long time, but we are new to the home audio and residential audio world now. So here's a couple of our big products that have really been the basis for some of our home audio products. The picture on the right there, that's a 900 watt 8-inch subwoofer. And then on the left, that's a marine tower speaker with our patented line array technology, though. So we're very, very familiar with making products that have to be outside and take the grueling sun and water and salt and everything else that comes from being outside all the time. So we're very versed in making products like that. So I guess my first question here is, have you heard of Memphis Audio before? Since we had those bunch of people ask, let's see how many of you have actually heard of us before.
It seems like a lot have. We're getting into like car conversations now. So somebody had talking about a '69 Firebird and a '67 Cougar. So yeah, it seems like most people have, from what I can see.
Yeah, well, we definitely have products for all those cars, as well as for your house and backyard. So, all right, most people that have logged in have responded. So I'll check it here. Oh, 50-50 of the guys who responded. So,
All right.
All right, so that's I'll take
cool.
it.
You have a live. You can track that live, huh?
Yeah, that's pretty cool.
Yeah.
Again, if you want to try it later, I'll talk to you about it after. It's pretty sweet.
Yeah. It's pretty neat.
All right. So what do we offer? The thing we're talking about today, we offered a patented outdoor landscape lighted audio system, and we'll get right into that. We also have 2 series of in-ceiling speakers and floor subs, but we have great margins. That's why dealers love us on the car side, and we're rolling that over to the home and outdoor side. And we have great sounding product. I mean, the one thing that I can say before we even get started is we're batting 1,000 for demos. So we don't have anyone that's heard the demo, whether it's in person at a location at an event, or hearing it in a yard, or hearing it just a small demo with 2 speakers or something. I've yet to have a demo where somebody went, that's not that great. So we're batting 1,000 on demos. So if you have the ability to hear it, where's the demo out now, Mark? The demo you have?
Yeah, so we had it up in our new Marietta location. We sent it down to Florida. So if you're in the Pompano area, we have it set up there. We're probably going to have it sent over to Orlando next. So if you're on here from Florida, in South Florida, make sure you check it out at our Pompano location.
Yeah, we're also working on smaller demos, so at least be able to hear it at every location. We're working on that in the near future. So even though you won't be able to get the full demo, just hearing 2 speakers is still a great demo. So you got to hear this if you have the chance. So getting right into it, the Fusion Soundscape, that's what we're here for. That's what we're talking about. Here is, I put it in here because this is the first ever installation, the first product that came off the assembly line into my backyard. I live in San Diego, California. So this is a giant backyard for San Diego. But you see, I didn't bury the sub yet, but I just was anxious to get it playing and hear it in my yard. And I was anxious and I was very excited once I got it in there. And then this is one of our most recent installations. This was done last week. 8 speaker sub setup right here. Perfect for this little backyard sitting area. So that just got done within a week. So one question before we get started: how often do you install landscape audio? So this is a question that I really would like to know the answer to for all the people in attendance.
Yeah, I think the question I asked was a solution like this, which I feel like those answers would be a lot lower than the answers you're going to get now. More people do landscape audio than do a solution like this.
All right, that's good. Well, if I can, I'm assuming they're all here because they do it. So
I'll take a guess. I will say I'll say it's like 70%.
All right, almost got everyone responded that's logged in. Let's see, one more.
70%. I'll say 70% all the time. So I'll say a couple times a month, a few times. I'll say like 2 or 3 would be the. Oh, okay, 3. Yeah.
All right. Well.
So not as often. A few times a year, not as often. Okay. I would have thought a little bit more than that, but all right.
Well, not everyone's logged in, so we've got about 20 people responding. So.
A few times a year.
All right. So getting into the system features. So the biggest biggest things about this system is it's a patent one of a kind landscape lighting and audio system. There is nothing out there like it. I honestly thought someone would have knocked us off after we showed last year at CEDIA, but we still are the only one like it. We combine elegant landscape lighting with immersive, awesome sounding audio, omnidirectional. It can also be used like in my backyard where it's playing one direction, but it is omnidirectional. Designed for anything from background music to a legit pool party. I've actually heard systems in all of those applications, whether it's background music and at our marketing manager's house, which is around a pool for a party. And our product, virtually nothing we have is proprietary. It can all work with other amplifiers, sources, lights, everything. So we tried to make things really easy to integrate with whatever else you have going on. So getting right into it, here is the amplifier. You see here the gain controls, power switch on the front, comes with, it's half rack. It comes with the arms to rack mount it in the box. And then here is a rear view of the amplifier, and I will get into the features right now. So this amplifier, it's not just a clever name of an LS Amp 250. At 8 ohms does 60 per channel, and at 4 ohms it does 125 per channel. Obviously both channels need to be driven on that. So 250, 125 by 2. Analog, optical, and digital coax in and out. So it does take the tune, whatever DSP you have switched on the amplifier, and it passes that through. So if you were to use a different amplifier or something else, it does take the EQ and send it through the output. So you can just set the EQ on the first amplifier and it goes right into the second. You can leave the second one a full range or flat on the EQ and it'll pass through. Same will be the case for if you used a different source like a Sonos port and you have the tune that you want on the input, then it'll pass it through on the output. Auto sensing turn on with front gain controls with a 15-minute timer. So when it sees no audio for 15 minutes, it shuts off, and that is defeatable right on the back of the amplifier. Has built-in DSP settings. I'll show you what those settings are. They're available in the manual as well. 0 is just straight flat. 1 is going to be the one you're going to use. So I'll show you those in a second. And then the frequency response, 10 hertz to 20 kilohertz. THD is 0.08%. And then the dimensions there. So you can see these are half rack. So let's see, 8.5 wide, 2.5 tall, and about almost 17 inches deep. And then you can take the feet off if you want and rack mount it. We're working on figuring out exactly which kits will work to do 2 amps in a rack. But for now, you know, if you were to have a rack shelf, this would easily fit 2 of them on a rack shelf.
So I've got a few questions coming in. It's 8 ohm, right? Because we have a question about 70 volt, and then this is well, it's actually 4 ohm, but yeah, it's 4 ohm but high impedance. We are working on a 70 volt system. We should have that out probably hopefully Q2 next year. But right now it is 8 ohm or 4 ohm, but high impedance. 4 ohm. So 1 amp will run 8 speakers and what, 2 subs?
8 speakers and 1 sub.
Okay.
I'll show you. We'll show a load chart later, but you could do 4 speakers, 2 subs. You can do 8 speakers, 1 sub. You can do 16 speakers, no sub. Those are all options.
Getting ahead of ourselves. Thank you. Sorry, Nick.
Yeah. No worries. All right. So here are the amp settings, the DSP settings that I mentioned. Really 0 is set to flat. So that's if you're going to tune it with like a Sonos port or something else. Really position 1, that's where you want to be. This is, we spent a lot of time tuning this EQ, even with a sub, even with the 8 speakers and a sub, it really does sound the best. I think you'd be hard pressed to be able to beat that tune. But if you want, you know, set it to 0 and tune it however you want. Position 2, that gets knocks off that 3 dB bass boost, but you know, especially want to do that if you say you don't have a sub, but even with the sub, it really does sound awesome. So all these are listed in the manual though. And like I said, however you want to do it, flat or with our tune, we think our tune sounds the best and spend a lot of time doing it. So, all right, getting into the speakers. as you see here, they're sold in 4-packs in black or bronze. It seems it's really pretty close. I would say 55, 45, 60, 40 maybe. Bronze wins out a little bit. It seems right now that bronze is a little bit more popular on the residential installs, and the black is a little bit more popular on the commercial installs like restaurants and stuff like that. So all in all, though, it's probably 50-50 or really, really close to it. So there isn't really much I can give you on which one will sell better. Both have, designed with hours and hours and hours of UV testing, both the black and the bronze. So you're going to be good. We spent a lot of time just leaving it in the UV box for months before we even started production. So don't really have to worry about that. You're going to be solid on that. And then getting into the features of the satellite speakers. So up first is the patented technology. So this patent, we just got it a couple months ago confirmed. So what I've circled there, that's an enclosure that where the speakers mount on the top, and it screws together with the globe where the light comes through. And what we have patented on there is that enclosure creates airspace, which allows us to get a lot of output out of two little tiny drivers, 2.5 one-way drivers. You will absolutely be impressed once you hear this, the output of 2.5s. I mean, at CEDIA last month, I had many people going, what is that, a 6.5 in there? So don't be discouraged that there's two little drivers in there. They definitely get some output. In addition, with that enclosure, because you've got the sound in that enclosure, the sound travels up and down as well as all around. So that rhymed. So the benefit of that is if you have, let's say, a slope, or one of your speakers is mounted a little bit higher than another speaker across the yard, you're still going to be able to hear it. The sound is still going to travel up, down, left, right, all around. So you don't have to worry about it being super directional. That's a huge benefit to our system, is it doesn't require a very fine tuning the direction to get the sound. You're going to get the sound every way possible. So impressively, these 2.5s go down to 100 hertz. They probably play a little even lower than that, but that's what we put out there. And then 89 dB sensitivity, so they're pretty efficient speakers as well. 2700K color, dimmable LED ambient light with a 3-watt G4 bi-pin bulb. It's a generic bulb. There's nothing proprietary about our bulb. So it comes with the 2700K, warm white bulb. But if you wanted to swap the bulb for some sort of Wi-Fi controlled RGB bulb, you can. There's nothing crazy special about our bulb. You can swap that out easily. So just take some screws to take that enclosure apart, because got to keep that sealed for the airspace and obviously for the water. But there's nothing proprietary. You can swap out the bulbs for any other bulb in that G4 bi-pin. And then we have our dual 2.5 omnidirectional speakers, 50 watts RMS per the pair of speakers. And if you look here at the design, the brass top screws on top of the enclosure, you kind of see those little gaps between the screws on that enclosure. So a lot of people ask, where does the water go? What do we have to worry about water? Well, the water goes through the perf in the top of the brass, and then it just flows down through off the sides and then dumps down on the ground between those little notches where that enclosure leaves space for the water to roll off. So you don't have anywhere for water to even pool on the enclosure or on the speaker. So that's where the water goes. And then, of course, solid brass stem enclosure for maximum durability in the elegant bronze or black finish. And all the speakers ship with a plastic ground spake with the 1/2-inch NPS threading. So that's if you're not familiar with that, that's the standard threading. So for example, for all of our demos, the stands we make is obviously, if we're doing a demo at a shop, or if we're doing a demo at a trade show, we can't put the spikes into the ground. And so you can get the NPS threading they make in virtually every 1/2-inch NPS, they make in virtually every sort of mount. So whether you're going to mount it to a deck, or want a bigger stake, or want a theft resistant stake or something like that, pretty much everybody makes something in the 1/2-inch NPS threading. So, are there any questions on the speakers?
Yeah. Some of these we may have got. Did you go over warranty yet?
I did not go over warranty, but we'll go over warranty. So it's 5 years on the speakers and 3 years on the electronics. So speakers and subs, 5 years. The amplifier, 3 years.
Or 3 years, 3 years, 5 years. Okay. This must be coming from somebody from Florida. Are they saltwater tested?
Yeah, but I was actually waiting for that question, because I think we always get that question even on our marine stuff and the Memphis side. Yes, we have all these have been in the salt spray booth again, like at our main factory build these. We have a UV booth, a salt spray booth, and just a straight shower where we just have speakers sitting in a shower where it's just raining down on them 24/7. So yes, they are. You'll be fine in the salt. You know, you might have some salt build up on the wipe off the brass. We can't help that, but they are salt tested. So
somebody asked too, are they hurricane resistant? But I don't know if they.
Yeah. They'll probably get dinged up and hurt if they get airborne, but
yeah.
No, I'll tell you, the shaft is pretty stout. I don't think that'll bend.
They really are. Yeah. The demo, I said, I was surprised how good quality they were. Definitely, there's definitely some weight to them. How does the Fusion Soundscape ensure a consistent audio quality in varying outdoor conditions? I mean, I guess that would just be like a landscape audio question, but
that I guess that would be based on making sure the speakers are in the ideal location for where your main listening points are.
Right.
So the big benefit of our speakers over a lot of the
light
other,
too. So you want to actually have, decent coverage of light and sound, right? So
yeah. So that's why we suggest, you're from 6 to 10 feet. I think in my backyard they're about 8 feet apart. 8 feet apart with this type of landscape lighting is kind of ideal for the lighting. Forget the audio. 8 to 10 feet is pretty ideal to get even lighting to where you're at, or where the area you're trying to light. But in addition to that, it's also ideal for the sound. For 8 to 10 feet is perfect to get the sound dispersion as well. So trying to get them anywhere from 6 to 10. I say 8's probably, I would say 8's probably ideal between each speaker for both light and audio.
You'll get into this. This is how how's the light powered. You're probably gonna get into wiring.
Yeah, we'll get into that.
We'll get to that. IP rating. Did you go over IP rating for these?
Yeah, it's between IPX6 and 7, so we say IPX6, but it's pretty. I would say it probably isn't quite 7, because 7 is underwater for 30 minutes, 1 meter. It'll work. You could dunk it underwater for, dunk it in, pull it out, you'll be fine. But we definitely did not test it so it would sit underwater for 30 minutes at 1 meter.
Yeah, or test in a hurricane. Different lengths of, this is a good question, pole lengths. I mean, do you offer like one or multiple sizes? I don't know if that would.
No, we just have one size on the pole length. So again, being that it is the standard size, if you wanted to have some sort of other mounting pole and the common colors, you could do that. If you need it to be shorter, just dig your hole deeper. That's what we've encountered so far.
And then, I mean, this is more of like a design question. How close together should they be installed to ensure a lighted pathway? So, again, this is more of a design question, right?
Yeah, if you're like I said, ideal lighting where I have in my backyard, they're about 8 feet, and I say that's like perfect. 8 to 10 feet is like perfect to where you're getting light everywhere. Like, let's just say the standard height, as tall as they are, you mount them just to where the base is under the dirt. 8 to 10 feet is going to be perfect lighting and perfect audio separation.
Yeah, all right, then we're probably going to get into wiring soon, so you can go ahead. Thank you.
We'll get into wiring next up. All right. So here's everything just all on one page again. So again, the bulbs are not proprietary. You can swap them out. They're a standard size. So if you wanted to swap RGB Wi-Fi bulbs, you can. 50 RMS, all the frequency response there. So, and of course the ground stakes are included. So moving on to, here's a picture of what they look like on a pathway. So here it is, right, coming down the path of that last install I told you about.
Yeah.
So getting into the subwoofer. So the sub, this is a high density polyethylene rotomolded enclosure. It's designed for the elements, both the heat, cold, and the sun. It's a 10-inch dual voice coil polypropylene and xanthopene subwoofer. Sounds cool, just means it's really designed to handle the elements. It's barrel rated with a weatherproof port, so there is a tight mesh on the other side of that the mushroom top. The subwoofer actually ships as you see it, with the exception of the mushroom port. That unscrews, so it's all one piece. Only just got to screw the top mushroom top on there, but there is thick mesh in there, so you're not going to get any vermin unless they can chew through aluminum. If they do, probably have a bigger problem. But 10-inch sub, 200 RMS, and that's what it looks like buried. And like I said, we've had a lot of UV testing on that to put a lot of the UV protection in there, trying to keep it black for as long as possible. All right, let's see here. So transformer, we offer one transformer. It's a 150 watt transformer, but there's nothing proprietary about our transformer. If you see there, you have 12, 13, 14, and 15 volt taps. So this transformer is not dimmable, but the LEDs that are in the system are dimmable if you have a dimmable transformer. So technically, I guess this transformer is dimmable. If you were to move the wiring from 12 to 15 volts, it's going to be a different brightness. But this one is not dimmable on the fly. So just to go through some of the specs, it is ETL listed, designed for LEDs from 12 to 15 watts. Terminals take up to 10 gauge wire. A tutorial core for reliable, efficient, cooler, and quieter operation. Control receptacles for optional timers and photocells. I'll talk about that in a second. Can be used with mechanical, digital, Wi-Fi timers, as well as photocell. Stainless steel enclosure with locked hinge lid, and this can power up to 43 watt lights. So the way I'm new to the low voltage lighting world, but I'm told that the maximum wattage of a transformer, 80% of that is usable, and then it really is just the watts divided by however many lights you have. So that's why you can use 43 watt lights. That's 120 watts, which is 80% of the 150 watt transformer. So our transformer, we didn't want to get into the lighting game as far as the transformers, because a lot of people already have transformers. There's people that are doing cool things with transformers. There's giant companies that have a bunch of transformers. So we just wanted to offer one solid commercial transformer that if you wanted to use ours to do a ton of lights in your backyard or in your yard or wherever, you could. But no, our transformer is not necessary at all to run our system. And then there's colored wire markers. Here's a couple pictures of our transformer being used with different controllers. So the one on the left, that's a basic timer. So very basic timer there. So it plugs into the transformer, and then the other wire plugs into the side to set the timer. The one on the right, that's actually my house. I just used a $10 Alexa plug and set my timer that way. There is, all the big control companies have a Wi-Fi plug that would work in this instance. So Crestron, Control4, RTI, all of them have some sort of Wi-Fi plug that you would just put right between the transformer and that plug there to control timing. And then you can use, it's a generic photocell on the top right. You see that little black loop wire on the top right inside there. You could just put a photocell on there if you wanted as well. But to be honest, there's with everyone, including, like I said, a $10 Alexa plug, there's real easy ways to make it Wi-Fi controlled, whether it's cheap or one of the big brands for control systems. So very easy to use. And like I said, if you have a Crestron or one other light controller, our lights will plug right into that controller. It's standard low voltage lighting. All right, so another question: what types of landscape audio do you install the most? Both for the ones that you've used regularly, not once. So I just put, for my travels, a lot of the people that have brands that I've heard come up. I threw those all on a list, especially
If you can't read them, what's Sonance, either the patio or garden series, rock speakers, omnidirectional ground speakers, any brand, Focal, Snap, two snaps, Mark Logan, Adept, Proficient, other.
Yeah, if you pull it up on your phone, it's much easier to read once you're looking at your phone.
I better see a lot of 1s, 8s. Well, 9 Proficient. We sell Speakercraft, so owned by the same company. I'm kidding, by the way. Joke.
I've obviously the only other brand that has really integrated lighting with speakers that is the episode with the lighting and the 70 volt. It's much more expensive, and it's 70 volt, and it's, in my opinion, not the greatest design. So we're going to kill them on sound quality, and their light isn't dimmable at all, so it's in your face no matter what. All right,
a lot of answers here.
Yeah, I'll give a couple more minutes or a couple more seconds here.
So someone just answers with the name, but would it pull from that, Nick, or do you need to put the numbers down?
So, like, if you pull it up on your phone, they're just all those are listed, and you can just click whichever boxes you want.
Oh, gotcha. Okay.
So, yeah, if you have it up on your phone, there'll just be those 10 options, and you click as many options as you want, and then hit submit. So the other ones is like a single question. This one I left open. You put as many as you want. All right, gotcha. Let's see. We got a couple more people logged in and out, so I will end it. Oh, we'll end it here. Oh, someone unlogged out. We're logged again. People keep jumping back in, so I was just waiting, but okay, we'll end it now. Let's see. Oops. All right, so looks like rock speakers.
Rock speakers, huh?
All right, well, you're definitely going to see an improvement if you use our stuff over rock speakers. All right. Well, that's good information to know.
Yep.
Rock speakers the jam, and be curious to know what other. If you're in the chat and you put other text or type in what other ones you're using. So, just out of curiosity. All right. So
yeah, I saw like raw sound in there. Saw like some Origin. So yeah, a good smattering of vendors.
Yeah, we'll just move some more.
Okay, here we go. Wiring
and installation. So here we go. It's very similar to other landscape systems, to be honest, on the audio side. Satellites are wired in parallel, and I will get to a diagram. Don't worry about this. Just to get over it at the beginning. Satellites are wired in parallel with one sub voice coil, then the left with one voice coil, the right with one voice coil. Speakers are installed with the ground spikes and other parts using the MPS thread, half-inch MPS thread, and options to work with other amps as needed, and I'll explain that in a second. So speaker wiring, place them 8 to 10 feet apart. Recommended left right configuration. This is stereo high impedance, so you are doing left right. So for example, the picture of my backyard, first speaker I did left, second right. So whenever you're walking along the yard, you're always going to hit 2 speakers to give you that left and right. Ideal for up to 3,500 square feet in your backyard. I have overkill for my backyard because I can with 16 and 2 subs. Way too much, but the neighbors hate me when I turn it up, but it is a great time. The easiest one cable installation is with 16.6. That's what I use. That's what we use for all of our demo kits and setups, is 16.6, and I'll explain that in a second. If you already have existing landscape lighting, you got 2-wire 16.2 run for landscape lighting, then you can tap obviously any of our speakers and speaker lights into that existing wiring. So then you would need 16.4 for the audio portion. And then if you just 16.6 is available, 16.4 and 16.2 used together is always an option. Put the recommended distance there. The biggest reason to follow that chart to use the correct gauge of wire based on distance is not like is mainly for performance. So if you were to use 16 gauge wire and you're up at 225 feet from the amplifier, is it going to work? Yes, but you might start to hear some distortion, especially on the very end of that run. So past 200 feet, those speakers might start to sound a little less than optimal, because the wiring, you're not getting the signal and the power all the way over there. So it's not really going to, I guess, hurt anything except sound quality. So definitely use. I have about 175, 180 feet, and I use 16 gauge. And admittedly, I don't hear much, but this is what's recommended per the science from the engineers. For the LED wiring, it is no different than any other low voltage lighting. So there's nothing proprietary about it. This is just like if you have low voltage wiring already set up, you can just tap into it. As I mentioned, our 150 watt transformer has power for up to 40 3-watt lights, and any low voltage transformer will work for the light. So if you already have a low voltage transformer, especially I hear a lot of our customers talking about using dimmable transformers. So any low voltage transformer will work. Same wiring situation for the lights. You'll probably see some drop off if you use the wrong, not a big enough gauge for the distance. So what I have pictured here is out of every satellite, you will see 2 pigtails. So you're going to have 2 wires for positive, negative on the LED, and then 2 wires, positive, negative for the speaker. The speaker's red. It's got speaker printed on it. It's got little flags. The black stripe or the white stripe is negative. So it's well marked, and then just showing what the ground spike looks like, and the bottom of the speaker with the 1/2-inch NPS threading. So all the 8 speakers will look like that coming out of the wiring, and then the subwoofer will look like that as well, but it'll just say left and right because there's no LED on the subwoofer. So this is what the bottom of all the wiring looks like out of all the speakers and the sub. Here, so this is a pullback shot of how you would wire 8 speakers and a subwoofer. So this could either be 16.6 or 16.4, 16.2, either way. So I'll zoom in a little bit there. So what you see here is out of the amplifier, you have white, yellow for your right channel. So, and then blue and green for your left channel. So that's the 4 wires coming from the amplifier. Whether you're using 16.4 or 16.6, you've got 4 wires dedicated to audio. So see here on this diagram, left is the blue and green. So the first speaker gets blue and green to the speaker terminal. The second speaker gets white and yellow for the right. The third speaker gets blue and green for left, right and yellow, etc. Then for the subwoofer, it gets both. It doesn't matter which is which, whether it's right or left, it doesn't matter on the sub because it's mono. You put one side white and yellow, one side blue and green, and then you continue on with the speakers. Ideally, you want to put the sub as close to the middle of the speakers, 8 speakers as possible, but also finding the best spot to get, the bass loading off of a wall or in a corner or something like that is more ideal. I'm lucky in my yard. I have the sub against a cinder block wall, so it definitely gets it extra low to get even louder than it is than it normally would be. And then, of course, you see there the transformer, whether it's our transformer, any transformer, you have 2 wires going to the 8 satellite LEDs. So this diagram here shows 4 wires to the amp, 2 wires to the transformer, whether that's, like I said, whether that's 16.4 and 16.2 or 16.6, and you have the transformer near the amplifier. Like that's my setup. I have the transformer right next to the amplifier, so 16.6 makes it easy. But like I said, if you've already got a low voltage transformer lighting up other lights in the yard, you just run that main line to the transformer and then 16.4 to the amplifier to all the speakers. Does that make sense to everyone? Is there any questions on that?
I see somebody has a question about connections, pigtails, wire nuts, and then
Yeah. So,
go
sorry. Go ahead.
Yeah. Answer it. Go ahead.
Yeah. So they're pigtails. So you're going to want to use waterproof wire nuts on there. I feel confident 21st Century has those available to to wire up to keep that connection waterproof. Obviously the option of soldering and sealing, you know, in the car world where I say solder everything, but yeah, the waterproof wire nuts will be perfectly fine to connect everything, both the audio and the LED side.
This is a really good question too about offering any design services. Just because we're talking about, you know, putting lighting and audio in one project together. I know you've mentioned that you guys had like a design service that you're about to start or have access to, so these guys can, and I mean they could obviously get with us, sales at 21stcenturydisc.com, and we could help you out with that. But I don't know if that's something you guys have online on your website.
We don't have anything online on the website, but if you do give us a call, we can help you with that. If you want to send us the information, we can absolutely help you design the system for optimal sound and lighting both. So we're working on, you know, as we're getting more, you know, we really launched this product in March, April this year. So we're trying to gather as much in-field installations where we can get photos and dimensions and stuff like that. So we're building our catalog for that. But on the fly, if you were to send us, you know, a drawing of a yard or a commercial space, we can definitely help you design exactly, you know, what you want to do. I'm personally a good friend of mine. I'm working with his integrator. He's got a crazy backyard with a pool, and I'm working with his integrator right now to design how many speakers and subs we want back there. I think he's going to go with 24 speakers and 4 subs. So it's going to be a pretty large system. So but there's 3 of us that have a good amount of experience now with actual in-field installations and setups. So we can definitely help you do that.
Yeah, and somebody just asked too if you could add in what you use for a source, and obviously you can add in a Sonos port if you want to. We have WIM coming up next. That would be an option as well. But I think for our demo units, we just have like a Bluetooth device that we use, but you can use any source, right?
Yeah. We I don't want to call it a dummy amplifier because it's there's definitely technology built into it with the DSP and such. But yeah, it is probably, I would say 70% of the systems that have been installed are with a Sonos port. You know, our demo system that we take around, I just have little Bluetooth streamer that's easy to plug in. When I first got mine set up in my backyard, I didn't have a port, so I just grabbed the Echo Dot that I had and plugged an Echo Dot into it to run it that way. You know, when I was testing the prototype, I just did an aux out of my phone. So it's, you know, analog, optical, and digital coax in. So whatever you want to do. We've also had people using a Sonos amp to power some of our speakers and use that tune into the amplifier. So, and then I think I was at Mountain West, or distributor out in the Rockies, and I forget the name of the amplifier, but it's an amplifier that also has, you know, low level line out that, you know, I could run in Bluetooth amplifier with the signal going into it. So really anything that's got analog or digital output, you can use as a source.
Perfect.
Yeah, like I said, the Sonos port is definitely the most popular option so far. All right, here's that load chart I mentioned. So amplifier is 4 ohm stable, getting down to 3.7 is fine. So if you want to do 4 speakers and 2 subs, that would work. 8 speakers in a sub, that would work. 16 speakers, and then we put 8 speakers in there. That'll work on most 8 ohm amplifiers, even though it drops down to 5.5. With the high frequencies, you can get away with that. The sub, that's when it really starts to really bring that impedance down to put the amp in to protect. But for eight speakers, you'll be fine on most 8 ohm stable amplifiers. All right, and if you saw there when I was mentioning, you know, the installation for a friend of mine with a lot of subs, the one good thing about our products is that they're They're sold in kits, like as I've listed there. So kit 4 and kit 4B, that's regular and black. That's just speakers and sub. That's $2,000 retail. The 4-speaker kit with amp and sub, $2,500. 8-speaker with no amp, $3,300. And then the largest system we have, which is 8 speakers, sub, and amp, is $3,800 retail. None of those include the transformer, and the reason that we don't include the transformer is because, as I said, any transformer work, if you already have an expensive Crestron dimming transformer, there's no need to use ours. So the transformer is non-proprietary, so that's why I put it in there. So $3,800 gets you 8 speakers, sub, and amp, and everything's sold a la carte if you want to add on. And amplifiers are only $500 retail. So if you wanted to add another 2 subs, the amp's only $500 to get 2 more subs in your yard. So very reasonable to add on to the system. So last question before we go. If it sounds as good as Nick says, will you be selling the Fusion Soundscape? So this is,
I'm just here for the points. Very good. Touche.
There's a chance that someone's here, but hopefully I at least told you to check it out.
Yeah, no, it's really good.
I must have disconnected. Only a couple of guys are still.
And while you guys are answering this, we have the SixFive Fusion Soundscapes in stock at 21st Century. Like we mentioned, if you're in the South Florida region around the Pompano branch, make sure to go check out the demo if you want to experience a live demo for yourself. And if you have any other questions, feel free to reach out to your sales rep. We have it on our website as well. So very easy to quote and sell. That last slide there makes it really simple. Sell them in kits. You easily add on to it. Comes with the amplifier. The only thing you need, as Nick said, is the panel, right? So that's really on the box is really the only thing you need. And also, as far as wiring goes, we also sell the, was it 16.6, right? If you want to run one cable, we stock that as well. So make it even easier for you. So you don't need to run 2 cables.
All right. Well, I like it. At least I got everyone to at least be willing to put it on some bids. So
that's good. All these liars. You're here just here for the points. I'm just kidding.
All right. Well, I appreciate everybody. I really thank you for being here. I promise. I actually I'm not lying. Actually, my director of sales, we've been in the car and home world in past companies as well, and this really is the only product that I'm batting 1,000 on demos on. Like I've yet to, I've had some guys that always just want to give you the meh, that really wasn't that great. I've not had that once, whether it's at CEDIA, whether that's at a distributor, whether that's live. I had multiple distributors say, I gave you this meeting because I like you or I knew someone and I was going to be sorry, thanks, but no thanks. And then they end up buying it and I have to buy it now. So if you have the opportunity to hear it, definitely do that. And
if you want to get a demo, we can get you a demo kit.
Yeah, that too. We are working on that. We should have demos in all the 21st Century locations by the end of the year, at least a 2-speaker demo, so you can see how good it sounds with 2 speakers, and you can do the math of multiply this times 4 and add a sub. So, but definitely give it a listen you can. I promise you will not be disappointed. And this is the most confident I've been in 20 plus years in the audio industry, both car and home, to say that this is the most confident I can say about any product I've ever been involved with.
Very good. Thank you so much, Nick. Really appreciate your time today. Thanks for being a part of the virtual roadshow. Check out the SixFive booth and get even more points. Even though everybody's not here for points. Really appreciate your time today, and we'll talk to you soon. Thanks, everybody. Our last training for the day is next.